Hey, Kevin, hope you're well, man.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, so I know it's defensive ends are basically switching to outside linebackers, but can you just give us a job description of what outside linebackers need to do in this defense and what you need out of these players?
Yeah, so the system that we're putting in right now, we're pretty multiple on what we're going to be able to do. So that they have to be able to rush the passer, they have to be able to drop in coverage, they have to be able to play in the line of scrimmage on 3-man, 4-man front systems. So it's pretty multiple, and the guys have really been enjoying the process. It makes them a lot more marketable. Guys like Owen and Isaiah for their body types for the next level. So they've kind of dove into it and bought into what we're doing and having some fun with it. So, but yeah, so it's very detailed as far as, all right, they have to drop, they got to rush, they got to play the run, they got to drop, play the pass. So it's been a lot of fun teaching it to these guys.
So what is the biggest transition going from a 4-man front like they had, hand on the ground, for Owen, Isaiah, Seth, those guys? Like, what's the biggest things you got to transition?
That's it. I would say right now, it's just getting to playing in a 2-point stance is a lot different than them playing in a 3-point. So it's taken some time to get them to get used to the footwork, the fundamentals of stepping with this foot rather than this foot. And, so like they're getting better day by day. And I think they're enjoying it. They can see a lot more standing up rather than putting their hand on the ground. So that's been the biggest, hurdle I would say thus far, is just getting them comfortable standing on 2 feet rather than on a 3-point.
Thanks, Kevin.
Yeah.
Hey, Coach Kane, how are you doing? You've talked a little bit about what their responsibilities are going to be with Owen and Seth and Isaiah, but what have you kind of seen from them, I guess, in these first couple of days outside of the basic fundamentals of stepping with the right foot first, like you said?
Yeah, I think, the big thing is especially with Owen and Isaiah is they're older guys and they're just natural leaders. Watching Owen take control and teach young guys certain things has been awesome. If I'm out there coaching one guy, I look back and I see Owen grabbing a Seth or a Cooper Davis and kind of using his hands and teaching, it's like this, it's like this. And, I really think that they're buying in that leadership role and that teaching role, and that's been like, to me, these guys are intelligent football players that want to be really good, and seeing them articulate that to their teammates has been awesome. And I think it's going to carry over to the younger generations when they get to that point of being the older guys, to keep teaching the younger generations. And I think we're like with what we're trying to do here with Coach B is we're stacking days. And as we continue to build this thing, that's what you want to see. You're going to play your best football as a senior, and you see these seniors teaching these younger guys kind of the ins and outs of the position, the techniques, and just how to play the game.
How important is it that these guys are teaching the younger players from just like a football standpoint, not like a greater macro program standpoint, as they're learning something totally new?
It's great. I mean, there's certain fundamentals. I've coached linebackers, I've coached safeties, I've worked with the D line before in my past, but there's certain things that they like to do and they have a better knowledge of than I do sometimes. So they're teaching them certain things. Hey, do it like this, and I think that's awesome. And they're still learning, and that's been some things again I've been most impressed with, is how quickly these guys are grasping the concepts that we're doing. Like, they are very smart individuals, and they've been able to. We're only 2 practices in, but tomorrow we put full pads on. We'll see what it looks like when we're actually striking some people, but. They've been very, very great as far as learning this defense and the techniques that we want to learn. And since they got that down, then teach these young guys what to do.
Hey, Kevin, good to see you. Those 5 guys who are listed as OLBs, can you kind of take us through the process of how those guys were kind of selected to make that transition from being listed as defensive linemen to moving into more of the outside linebacker role? What went into it for you and anybody else who kind of helped make that decision, I guess?
Yeah. So when we first got here, we watched all of our guys from last year's season, and as we kind of got hired here, and Coach B that was very strategic in what we did with our players right when we got here. Tank and all of his staff got his guys for the first, I believe it was the first 4 weeks of the 8-week cycle. And, Coach Walters and Coach Boo, all of us were able to, Coach Jameson and Coach Henry, were able to kind of watch and see how these guys were moving and putting those 2 things together, the film and watching him live, we kind of got an idea of, all right, these guys can play this position. These guys could potentially play this position. And then now it's just kind of piecing it together. And there's probably still maybe moves throughout the course of spring as we see guys with certain skill sets that may fit this position better than that position. So it's not done yet. Every day it's kind of a new journey as far as what we're going to be able to see. But that's kind of been the process so far. So we saw on film, we saw him live. We're saying, okay, this is what we're going to do on defense. All right, this guy looks good in this position, and so on and so forth.
And then Owen mentioned to us yesterday that you're kind of he described you as kind of like a high energy guy. You bring a lot of energy to the position group. But what has been your kind of approach maybe on that front with the attitude and the mentality you're bringing to those practices?
Yeah, everybody has their own way of doing things. I kind of read the room as far as what type of coaches that we do have, and Coach Walters is a very smart, strategic man, energetic, likes to have fun with the guys. Coach Boo's the same way, and I bring Coach Henry's loud and energetic. So we have a pretty high energy staff, I think, as well, and with the outside backers and the D line with Coach Jameson, we work a lot hand in hand doing certain things. And Coach Jamo is like very, very by the book guy, and gets a lot out of him. So he's the yin and I'm the yang. I'm the high energy guy that kind of boasts around and I just want these guys to know that, like, when we work, we're going to work, and when we play, we're going to have some fun. And whether it's running on the field with a little high energy, having a little excitement, and then when they make a play, you're going to have a great celebration with it. Or if they screw up, you're definitely going to let them know about it. But that's just who I am. I'm going to be the same guy every day. I'm going to have that quirkiness about me, and I think the guys have enjoyed it so far. And as long as you're consistent, I think they got to respect that.
Thanks, Kevin.
Hi, Coach Kane. Just to clarify something you've already been asked a few times already, is this position that these five guys moved from DN to outside linebacker, is there a particular terminology that you use for that position, a certain moniker that you put on it? Is it a hybrid or a rush linebacker position?
No, I mean, it's just strictly, they're going to be outside backers. They're the outside part of our core right now. And there's certain skill sets that we're looking for. They have to be able to rush the passer. They have to be able to play in space, and they still have to be stout enough to stop the run. So, I mean, we'll come up with some fun names along the way. They got to earn that right, though. I mean, if you want to be called something as a unit, obviously we have certain positions, like we call this guy the Buck and this guy the Fox, but as a unit, we'll come up with a fun name for them as they go out and earn it.
I assume you want these guys to be good edge rushers. Illinois has not been real strong rushing the passer the last few years. I know it's limited viewing, but what have you seen from them so far as far as speed coming off the edge?
Tomorrow we'll find out for sure. We've been kind of just in helmets and T-shirts the whole last 2 days. We haven't had a lot of one-on-one pass rush. We haven't done a lot against the offense, but tomorrow we'll have a good idea. We'll have a lot scripted and a lot of competition going in that sense with pass rush and certain situations. So, I think they have the tools. They want to be really, really good. We've studied a lot of stuff here so far, and we're going to continue to study great pass rushers and what do they do differently. And the system that we're going to put in place is a very attack style system. Where we've blended a lot of stuff that all of us have done at previous places. The places where I've been in the past, we've led the country in sacks and TFLs, and we want to bring that here as well. So I think the guys are excited about that. And tomorrow I'll have a better idea of what we can do.
Not to monopolize your time, but I do have one more. That recruiting wise, you're going to want to recruit to the system, I assume, with the 4 linebackers. What's the feedback been like so far out on the recruiting trail, and what kind of profile are you looking for these outside linebacker positions?
Yeah, so far it's been really good. Like, I guess if you ever look at the profile, you have to have every year you're trying to get better than what you already have. So you look at like Isaiah, you look at Owen. Those guys are 6'3s plus. And right now Owen's almost up to 270 right now, and Isaiah is 245, 250. So you have to find guys with length and quick twitch, the ability to rush the passer, and then also drop out and play in space. So that's kind of the profiles that we're looking for. But obviously, a good football player is a good football player. There's always going to be an exception. But yeah, that's always been my mantra and my method of recruiting is, can this guy be better than what we have already? And if he's better than what you got, then you got a chance to be really good. And so every year you keep building that, and that's the standard you set. You have a chance to build a really good program.
Thank you.
Yep.
Kevin, your alma mater needs a head football coach. They need an athletic director too. I was just I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask. There's been some reports about your name being tossed out. I don't even know if that's educated or not, but if your comfort level of talking about that situation and how you see that kind of playing out.
Yeah, I mean, you can ask. Shoot, nobody's called me, nobody's told me anything. So obviously, what you said is pretty accurate. So, at the time being, right now, I'm at the University of Illinois, and I'm fired up to be here. So that's all. Nobody's ever talked to me yet, so we'll see what happens. But I'm here.
As a guy who played there, I was just curious if you have conversations with other friends that you might have had, former teammates, stuff like that have a passion for that place.
Oh, sure. Obviously, as your alma mater, you want good things to happen for it. When I left the place, we won the Orange Bowl. So I've seen it at the all-time high, and I've been there for an all-time low as well. And it's so all my teammates that I still keep in touch with, we all always are saying, hey, how can it be better? What do we need to do to make it better? So I mean, that's your alma mater. You want it to do well. So
thanks, Kevin. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
Hey, Kevin, I'm curious, in those sessions that you guys watched your players with Coach Tank, and as you guys went through film of last year, what's the key, or how does it push you guys as coaches to take those data points and kind of create the bigger picture? What was that process like for you guys?
Oh, that's kind of the fun part. I look at football as a giant puzzle, and how do you put the puzzle together? What piece fits where? It's the same thing on defense. You're a part of the puzzle. If you're in the wrong spot, guess what? There's a hole in the puzzle, and now there's somebody running down the middle of the field. So it's the same as with putting this thing together from a personnel standpoint. Is first off, what do you want the puzzle to look like, and then how do we find those different pieces? So I think everything that Tank's been doing downstairs and his staff, and then how Coach Bielema has implemented this thing and what we want to accomplish, and it's a work in progress. To this day, we're trying to find those pieces and get the right corners and edges in there. And, we're taking those data points and we're matching it to this and trying to match that to what our scheme wants to be like. And that's the fun part, though. I mean, we're putting these guys in the right position to have success. And that's always going to be the common denominator is how can we be successful? And is this what's going to be the best thing for this individual and for this team?